Well, I'd like to see us sign a goalkeeper, so Butland would be one. Got to sign a centre half, so Toby Alderweireld would be nice from Spurs. You've got to take Mo Salah, got to take him, and De Bruyne. I'll definitely have him as well. Quite a few of them, I think, like, you know. Mustafi, got to Petr Cech as well, would have to go. Osprina, I think both of them would have to go to bring in another goalkeeper. I would also say, you know, a bit harsh, but Koscielny would be another one as well. No. Stupid question. Question dismissed. Oh, well, there could be a low, but I think we're desperately crying out for a real top midfield player, so Patrick Vieira will be my one. God, that's a very, very good question. Going back into the late 70s and 80s, he was a fantastic defender. I've probably, like, because of, you know, people probably like, it's a long while ago, probably like forget about that. And he was a very, very good central defender, classy central defender, probably a bit before, you know, his time. He was like in an era where it was like kick, and he was more of a like, I would say like a classic, classy sort of central defender. It's a very, very good question. Yeah, I'd have to say that he probably is, but unfortunately he comes in an era where I would put him in alongside someone like Steve Bold and probably above someone like Kolo Toure, if I'll be honest. Yeah, it's a very, very good question. He's definitely up there. He's, you know, don't forget he's probably, you know, as we all know, he's the highest record appearances as well. So yeah, good question. Does get overlooked, but you know, I would put probably Sol Campbell and Tony Adams in front of him, and probably Martin Keown as well. But he would be definitely in the squad. You'd have to say Harry Kane. You would have to, you know, and probably centre half in Toby Alderweireld, but that's about it really. I know they've got some good players, but you know, them two I would definitely take. Without a shadow of a doubt, Mike Dean, followed closely by Atkinson. They've got a long way to go, if I'll be honest, a long way to go. They're bringing some good players over, probably like that are not in their prime. The American fans would know more than me about this, but I think like with the American football and basketball and baseball, they're really up against it on the American market. So I don't think that it will probably be as big as what the Premier League is, if I'll be honest. That's hard, like, you know, the greatest player that I've seen, like, you know, going on TV and everything there, I know we can talk about Pelé, you can talk about George Best, people say about George Best, the best player that I've seen would be Diego Maradona. And the reason being, I just think that he was like chopped from pillar to the post, didn't have the protection that the referees give out now, and virtually won the World Cup on his own. Stupid question, case dismissed. Both rubbish. Well, I would say probably, if he signs a new contract, Aaron Ramsey should be captain of Arsenal. And that's my final judgment. Probably because we didn't win the Champions League, if I'll be honest. I think if we'd have won the Champions League, he would have, at that moment in time in 2004, he was just on a different planet and probably should have won it. He was definitely probably the best player at that time, but I do think that, you know, European success has got got to be there as well, and unfortunately we didn't achieve that, which is a disappointment that we didn't win the Champions League that season, which we should have done, but probably because of that reason that he didn't. Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. He would walk into this current Arsenal team without a doubt, and that is my final judgment on it. Well, they're not competitive now. So, yeah, of course, you know, our transfer policy is about as good as our defence, if I'll be honest, so not very good. Needs to be looked at. I don't buy into this fact that when we're short of money, because at the end of it, where is all the money gone? So I do believe that that's got to be looked at, like, you know. So, and if we carry on with the policies that we've got at the moment, you know, as it's showing at the moment, we're not even competing in the Premier League, let alone Europe. Well, being the traditionalist that I am, the yellow and blue, that I'm always yellow and blue, but if you remember that kit, like, you have to have a little screenshot of it or something, like, it was a great kit. And because it was so off the rails at that moment in time, it was just, you know, like, it was always yellow and blue, red and white, and all of a sudden they brought in this kit. I quite enjoyed it. I didn't like seeing Lee Chapman in it, mind, but it was a good kit. I have to say, I quite liked it. It's got to be, like, my favourite, without a doubt, is the one that really sort of got ArsenalFanTV game was Chris Hudson's one. By the way, and he lives down the road at Waltham Cross. I think that was the one that got everybody going. I loved his passion of it and everything there, like, you know. And I have to say, I know you shouldn't laugh at times, but the one with Claude and Ty, I think, correct me if it's wrong, was outside Upton Park when he just jumped in and said it's time to go. I thought it was quite funny. I know you shouldn't be laughing at them sometimes, but that was probably my two that I remember the most. Well, I would have loved to have watched the Brazil-Italy game in 1982 when Italy won 3-2. I'd love to have been there and watched that game, the atmosphere, and it was a fantastic game. I think you'd have to say, you know, if I was to do it now, I'd like to probably watch Argentina versus Brazil in Rio de Janeiro. Nice sunny beach, have a few days on the beach, and then go and watch that game would be the ideal game. Well, I would have loved to have kept Cesc Fabregas. I know the reasons why he left and everything like that, but taking all that aside, would have loved for him to have stayed. And of course, you know, Robin van Persie is another one that I would have loved to have kept. I know the reasons why again, but just taking all those reasons out, if I could have kept two players, and they would have been the two that I would have kept. Mesut Ozil. I couldn't believe it, to be honest. Shocked. Didn't think it would happen. All credit to him. Deserved to beat them on the day. But one of the things that it did strike home is that, you know, if that had happened to Arsenal, there'd been a complete and utter meltdown with everybody, the press and everybody there. I didn't think they got too much stick about the performance, to be fair. Barcelona. It was all about Roma, which surprised me. If that would have probably been Arsenal, it would have been all about Arsenal losing. But it seemed to me that Roma got a lot of praise, and I felt that, if I'll be honest, Barcelona were caught between a hard place and looking at it, because I don't think they really knew what they was to do, whether to attack them, and they got caught out, and simple as that. Judge is not being biased. Oliver Giroud. Well, both of them, to be honest, haven't won the Champions League, you know, and probably like Man City should have probably done a little bit better than this time around. Well, you can think whatever you want about Arsene Wenger at the moment, and I'll keep those thoughts to myself at this moment in time, but, you know, the Invincibles season was fantastic, and he has to take a lot of credit for that. It was fantastic following the Arsenal, watching them. Difficult question, but, you know, because of the love of Arsenal, you know, I'll always go 2004 Invincibles. All 11 of them. Which won the most? Well, Jack and Aaron frustrate me because of the injuries. Mustafi frustrates me because he's rubbish. Iwobi because he's inconsistent. Cech because he can't catch and save. That's a real difficult one, but I'm going to say Mustafi because of his continuing mistakes that he makes. I'll tell you what, last season's one was great. I have to say that, mate, because it's in the memory a little bit. I really enjoyed last season's one. Chelsea going in there as big, strong favourites, and we produced an outstanding performance from Per-Mertesacker all the way through the team. And when we scored that goal with Aaron Ramsey, it was fantastic. You know, every cup final's good to win, but that was it was a really enjoyable day, and obviously I would have to say close runner-up has got to be 79 with Arsenal Man United. It looked like we'd won it, then we lost it, and we won it again with the last-minute goal. So it would have to be out of them two, but probably because it's just a bit more fresh in my memory. I think that Chelsea game last season was a great cup final. £90. That's probably about it. Like, you know, for a ticket. I've never ever paid over the odds for a ticket. Don't agree with it. Never done it. Question adjourned. I'll have to come back and think about that. Manchester United have got to be right up there. I would have to say Manchester United, because at the end of the day they've been fantastic, and probably a little bit of jealousy creeps into that. If it wasn't for Man United, we'd have won a few more titles in those years. The players, I never really liked none of the players, Roy Keane and the likes. Even going back into the 80s, they had Brian Robson and people like Norman Whiteside, great players, and they just had a little bit of a hold over us at times in those games. We've never really done well at Old Trafford on the odd occasion, of course, when we won the league up there, and in '98 were great times. Yeah, I'd have to say Manchester United, followed very close by Chelsea. Okay, right, that's it for this week, but the questions adjourned. We will be doing them at a later date. They're questions that I feel that I've got to have a little bit more time to think about, but we will have an adjourned show where all the questions that are adjourned I will answer, I promise. Until next time, leave your comments in below, and until next week, up the Arsenal.
We're giving you a chance to be on ArsenalFanTV and give your opinion after the game. All you got to do is WhatsApp your video and hold the camera like this. Send it straight after.